Essentials for Strategic Thinking and Innovation, or the STI, a DepEd Messer exclusive learning program through the Human Resource Training and Development, and in partnership with CMU Enutech, provides a learning course which is designed to capacitate and upskill supervisors, school heads, and school in charge. It addresses the need to develop and strengthen their capacity on strategic thinking and innovation to navigate through challenges of changing education landscape. Proudly presents Class 4 Group Malipayon with our facilitating learning tutor, Regional Director Dr. Alan G. Farnazo, and the members Sir Bobby R. Batutay, Ma'am Risa Okmeha, Ma'am Beverly M. Tagarda, and Ma'am Catherine J. Rusalinas. To start blissfully, let us invoke God's presence to bless us with our endeavors in education. Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Lord Jesus, thank you very much for preserving us, our families, our friends, and relatives. Though we walk in the valley of health crisis, but you become our source of strength as you guide us along the way. We give ourselves to you and give all the glory in everything. This we ask in your powerful name. Amen. To start this group discussion, Sir Bobby R. Batutay will give his welcome address.
To our dearest facilitating learning tutor, who always gives us happiness, Regional Director Alan G. Parnaso, to my STI Class 4 co-learners, to my groupmates, the Group Malipayon, and to all the people who are watching with this group video presentation, have a blissful day to all of you. It is an honor to be selected as one of the participants of Essentials for Strategic Thinking and Innovation, or the STI, a DepEd Messer exclusive learning program in partnership with CMU Enutech. As part of Module 1 output, I would like to welcome all the viewers to closely watch as we present our discussion on the three common external factors that have all affected our schools during this time of new landscape of education. We will also discuss the three learning points from the articles we have read. May you find meaningful learning points from us and apply this to your respective school. Thank you very much.
I would like to invite everyone to pause and reflect for a moment for the words of wisdom that will refresh us and how life experiences mold us to become what we are and who we are as educators and mentors. It takes years to build trust and only seconds to destroy it. No matter how good a person is, sometimes they can hurt you, and because of this, we must forgive. We don't have to change friends if we understand that friends change. The circumstances and the environment influence our lives, but we are the ones who are responsible for ourselves. You have to control your acts or they will control you. You should never tell a child that dreams are fake. It would be a tragedy if they knew. It's not always enough to be forgiven by someone. In most cases, you have to forgive yourself first. No matter in how many pieces your heart is broken, the world doesn't stop to fix it. Maybe the universe wants us to meet all the wrong people first before meeting the right one. So when we finally meet the right one, we are deeply grateful for that gift. It only takes a minute to offend someone, an hour to like someone, a day to love someone, but it takes a lifetime to forget someone. Don't look for appearances, they can be deceiving. Don't go for wealth, even that can fade. It is my honor to present once again the members of Class 4 Group Malipayon with their introductory words. Let me start with Ma'am Beverly M. Tagarda.
The school head of Balingasag Senior High School, a standalone senior high school situated within Mambayaan Integrated School, Mambayaan, Balingasag, Misamis Oriental. I have been in the Department of Education for almost 14 years and served as school head for 5 years. Thank you. Stay safe and God bless everyone.
It is indeed an honor to be chosen as one of the participants of this prestigious online program to hone our skills as school heads. I am Bobby R. Batutay, school head of Pugon Elementary School, Gitagom District. This is my third time to be given the opportunity to be under the Simio Enotech online course. I believe that this online program will transform me into a better school head. Thank you very much.
Good day, I'm Risa Miyaki of Meha, the school head of Tambubong Balacanas National High School. This is my fifth year as a school head and I've always been passionate about finding smart ways to help young people become a better citizen of the country. I believe being committed, passionate, and dedicated to the teaching profession is the key towards securing a better future. This is also my second time in Simeo Enotech because I was in Teach Egg Sales Batch 7 3 years ago. I joined this Simeo STI course in the hope that I could refresh myself, considering that we are living in a VUCA world, and I'll be able to challenge myself also with the new trend of new learning landscape and education. Through this program, I hope I can also provide sound direction and guidance to my fellow teacher I am leading with. So I just hope that this desire would be answered in the near future. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, a pleasant day for all of us. I am Catherine Habla Rosalinas, the school in charge and at the same time, a grade 6 class advisor of Talao Elementary School, Gitagong District. I decided to enroll in this course in order to uplift myself and gain more learnings and knowledge to be able to carry out my roles and responsibilities as a school head effectively and efficiently, and also to prepare myself for all the challenges brought to us by different situations and circumstances. That would be all. Thank you.
To give us a statement of purpose of this group video presentation, let us give a virtual applause to Ma'am Catherine J. Rosalinas.
Our main purpose of having this group video presentation as part of Module 1 group output is to discuss the three common external factors that have all affected our schools during this time of new landscape of education because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We will also discuss the three learning points we learned from the articles we have read. This will further give you the insights on what are the challenges we have experienced and how we cope with, in order to continue our advocacy in providing quality education to our learners in the midst of health crisis. Thank you.
Here are the members of STI Class 4 Group Malipayon to discuss the three common external factors that have all affected our schools.
We agreed to choose the article, The Impact of COVID-19 on Education Inequality in Japan, because it can be also applied in the Philippine context, though few of the conditions mentioned is not true to our country. However, in some ways, they are true to our experience during the time of COVID-19 pandemic. In Japan, many of their school children relied on schools for access to free nutritious meals before the pandemic. But during voluntary school closures, disadvantaged student populations struggled to receive food and other social services. Fortunate enough in our country that even during school closures, our government continues to implement school-based feeding program for elementary schools in almost all schools in the country with Nutripacks and personnel. Although not all learners are given, but at least the undernourished learners are prioritized.
Access to education in Japan is another problem. Many students pursuing higher education have been hit hard financially due to either own loss of income or family members' loss of income as a result of pandemic-related job losses. In the Philippines, however, access to higher education is not such a big deal because our government is giving a subsidy or free tuition to college students enrolled in a state university colleges. The problem of parents of their college students is their internet connectivity expenses for online classes. Many students have also the problem of the availability of gadgets for online classes besides the internet connectivity.
Just like the situation in Japan, many of the learners in our country lack the amenities necessary for online learning such as quiet study space, computers, textbooks, and internet connection. Majority of the parents do not have the ability to provide their learners with the devices needed by them in order to access and participate in online learning. Therefore, they also need support to be able to cope with this scarcity. The digital divide between rural and urban areas and across socioeconomic lines further complicated the transition to the online environment. And hopefully, we can find solutions to this little by little through building a strong public-private partnership with our stakeholders.
Japan is not alone in facing these challenges. It is indeed disadvantaged groups are disproportionately impacted. In the Philippines, those who are badly affected are the learners whose parents are under the poverty line. They don't have an easy access to online learning because of the absence of gadgets and internet connectivity. Although our government is trying its best to solve the problem, but many of our learners are still facing in such kind of problem. The Department of Education is implementing the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan in order to somehow lessen the burden of the parents on the online learning system.
I would like to invite everyone to pause and reflect for a moment for the words of wisdom that will refresh us on how life experiences mold us to become what we are and who we are as educators and mentors.
Even government around the
It
world
takes years to build
use
trust
full
and
or
only
partial
seconds to
lockdown,
destroy it.
quarantine and self-isolation
No matter how good the person is, sometimes they can hurt you, and because of this, we must forgive.
Closures of entertainment venues and educational institutions, resting and contact tracing,
We
stay at
don't
home
have to change
encouragement for
friends if
orders,
we understand that
public health
friends
indication
change.
and declaration of states of emergency. These measures truly affected the operations of our schools in the country.
The localized and nationwide closures of schools and universities, albeit temporary, present significant challenges to education system, learners and teachers across the globe. School closures impact not only to learners, teachers, families, but also to the community and society at large. The impact is particularly severe for disadvantaged, vulnerable children, their families, and women generally have to shoulder the burden of domestic work and care for children and at-risk elderly relatives.
The demand for learning distance modality during this time of pandemic is also a big challenge to many schools. Those schools adopting offering the modular print modality face the problem of the scarcity of resources for printing of modules such as bond papers, printers, and other resources. Although this problem is somewhat solved by the BELCP fund provided by the government, it can't be denied that the said problem still exists in many schools in the country today.
For schools adopting online learning, the problem is the availability of gadgets to be used by the learners and the slow internet connectivity. We are thankful that in one way or another, our government is trying hard to solve the problems experienced by both school personnel and learners. The demand for online instruction and crafting of video lessons are other factors affecting especially the teachers. Many teachers lack the online teaching experience, inadequate preparation time for online teaching, and technological support.
The demands and challenges because of the new landscape of education truly affected to some degree the school personnel, learners, parents, and the people in the community, especially both to their physical and physiological health.
At this moment, Mr. Bobby R. Batutay will give his synthesis on the meaningful group discussion. The crisis caused by COVID-19 virus has far-reaching effects in the field of education, as schools were closed in March 2020 in many countries around the world. For educators, the COVID-19 pandemic is a quintessential adaptive and transformative challenge, one of which there is no pre-configured playbook that can guide appropriate responses. Education leaders must swiftly design responses and with a specific context in mind as the pandemic runs its course. As the COVID-19 pandemic runs its course, many governments are implementing measures that limit the number of people congregating in public places. Such measures have disrupted the normal functionings of schools and universities. Because the duration of such measures has been extensive and it's likely to continue in some countries for a certain time until a vaccine becomes available, leaders of public and private education institutions have put in place alternative methods for students and teachers to continue with their lessons when attending school is not possible and are working on methods that will make schools fit for working in a safe environment. Government agencies and schools are faced with the challenge of planning for education delivery in very uncertain times. After a major learning disruption due to school closures and lockdowns, countries have gradually lifted restrictions while maintaining
key protective measures, particularly around physical distancing. In the Philippines, the global outbreak of the highly contagious new strain of coronavirus as COVID-19 continues to pose unprecedented challenges. In order to provide clear guidance to all offices, units, schools, and community learning centers of the Department of Education, learners and their parents, partners, and stakeholders, the department developed a basic education learning continuity plan, a package of education interventions that will respond to basic education challenges brought about by COVID-19, as stipulated in the DepEd Order Number 12 Series of 2020. Communication shall play a major role in implementing the BELCP with the appreciation and support of the key stakeholders. Education Secretary Leonor Briones said that the LCP of DepEd is not a one-size-fits-all policy and was designed to be flexible to cater to the various needs and capacities of schools and learners. She noted that DepEd local officials and school heads play a very crucial role in the operationalization of the LCP. Moreover, the Department of Education is calling for a strong partnership among stakeholders of school and other government agencies, especially in the implementation of modular distance learning. The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or the DILG, urged local government units to assist the public schools in their areas adjust to the new normal as well as to utilize the Special Education Fund, or the SEF, to support the localization of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan of the Department of Education. Through the ILG Memorandum Circular 2020-096, the LG Secretary Eduardo M. Anyo encouraged all LGUs to be able partners in the implementation of Oplan Balik Eskwela and BELCP and to be more creative in assisting schools and learners as they immerse in the new learning environment under a new normal. Partnership among stakeholders is more needed, especially this time of COVID-19 pandemic, in implementing the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan of the Department of Education. Further, this partnership must be sustained to ensure that the true purpose of education must have a lasting effect to the learners, even in the midst of crisis. According to the Secretary of Education, Lenore Magdules Briones, education must continue even in times of crisis, whether it may be calamity, disaster, emergency, quarantine, or even war. Thank you very much.
Here are the four members of Group Malipayon as they give their parting words.
Let us be happy, optimistic, proactive educational leaders in this most challenging time of education.
This is your partner in education, Risa M. Okmeha. Disruptment does not mean despair. Instead, we must focus on the twin foundation of repair and prepare by PM Modi. Yes, the pandemic can stop schools, but it cannot stop education. As Benjamin Franklin says, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Thank you.
Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Stay safe and God bless everyone.
I would like to say, it takes a Beamer village to educate a child.
We hope that you're able to receive meaningful insights on what we have discussed about the different factors and challenges we are facing now as we continue providing quality education to our learners in the new normal of educational landscape. This is Mr. Bobby R. Batutay saying thank you very much.